This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
All right, thank you very much for joining. This is not First Alert meteorologist Evan Thomason. I'll get to him in just a moment. This is a live look out at Window World Camera here in Texarkana. This is a beautiful morning. Some blue skies, some sunshine coming in. That was the first time we've got to see that in quite some time. I will say that's not present for everybody across the Arklatex, though. Not everybody's catching in on the fun here yet, but enjoy the sunshine while it does last, because we're fixing to bring in some cloud cover and some rain here heading into the later part of this work week. Hi, I'm meteorologist Evan Thompson. Hope you're having a fantastic day for today. So we got a little bit of rain showers still to talk about lingering around some portions of mainly Ruston here for today. I know that's not entirely in the Arklatex. In fact, it's actually moving north and east. But we have some remnant cloud cover that's mainly hanging around northwest Louisiana from yesterday's cold front. So, that's hanging tight here for the day today and a little bit more for tomorrow. But tomorrow's cloud cover is mainly from the next cold front, which is working its way through the region. So I know we're finally getting back to calmer weather. Today is finally not a first alert weather day. First time we've been able to say that all work week. In fact, looking forward to some sunshine. And you said, get out and enjoy it while it lasts before the next cold front proceeds to come quickly into the region, because it's almost one after the other. Then the next cold front, I'll let you see it here coming up in the local forecast. But the next cold front's already in New Mexico and Colorado here today. It's just a matter of 2 states away, and it's going to come eastward through Texas mainly on Friday, and it's coming through the Arklatex mainly Friday night through Saturday. We'll talk about that in the local forecast. Now, we usually, especially after these cold fronts come on through, like to look forward to some dry sunshine, some nice weather back in the Arklatex, and that usually makes my job pretty easy. That's not the case at all for the day here today. In fact, we're having to take a look at lots of things happening around us again. First of all, with the cold front, yes, because we have cloud cover leading back into the region here for tomorrow, which leads to the next cold front here happening later on this work week, heading into next weekend too. So you can look forward to that. And we have tropics news. I've been talking about this a little bit over the podcast the last 2 days, but we've barely scraped the surface about what is actually happening with Hurricane Rafael. It is now a hurricane this morning, and it's hitting Cuba today as a Category 2 hurricane in the Caribbean Sea, and this is also making its way into the Gulf of Mexico. So, yeah, gotta watch out for that here for the next several days. But we'll talk about that more in our rundown here. All right, so I know I've kind of already hinted at what we're talking about here for today. Oh, we do not have a first alert weather day. Watch this. I'm going to quickly change this. Whoop. Nope. And let's change it to sunny local forecast. Boom. And now let's put that in. Bam. Look at that. Sometimes you forget just one thing every single day. Yesterday I was Yesterday, I want to put myself back on cam for this real quick. Yesterday, I forgot to turn on CJ's mic for the first, 2 minutes of the podcast when CJ was on with us on TikTok Tuesday with CJ Cartledge. My bad, out to him. There's always something I forget. Today, it was the rundown. Today, the local forecast is sunny. It is not a first alert weather day today. We're taking a look at nice weather moving on for at least today and tomorrow. Again, rain is coming back, unfortunately, here for the weekend. We'll get to that in just a little bit. We're also taking a look at Hurricane Rafael. That is how you pronounce it. We're at the R stage now of names, and it is moving again into the Gulf of Mexico. Beyond that, well, you'll have to wait and see where Rafael is going. Stay tuned. That'll be after a commercial break, after our local forecasts, which we'll get back to right now here this moment. Again, just a reminder, for those of you on YouTube, I see 4 of you watching. I can count. Well, I can't count individual viewers, but YouTube is telling me I have 4 people watching me. For those of you watching on YouTube, first of all, thank you. Second of all, feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to leave a comment or question about anything about the weather. I know it's not the first alert weather day, so it's not, here's the weather. But, yeah, just please leave a comment. Leave a question. I love answering things. I love being a weather nerd. This is what I do. This is the platform I do it on, okay? Again, I have a limited amount of time for my weathers, especially for today with all the election news. Limited time for my weathers during the shows. This podcast, it's pretty much unlimited. Go and talk about anything I please, at least weather-wise. All right, so let's get to the forecast here for today. As I'm pulling up my graphics, you have the lovely chance at looking at something other than just me. You can look back again at the Window World Sky Camera here in Texarkana as I pull up my graphics. There we go. All right, so this is a look in Bossier. So this is the kind of the contrast. I usually don't show kind of 2 cameras usually on these forecasts, but this one I do want to show because Texarkana is nice and sunny and we got plenty of blue sky on it. But still in Bossier, a little gloomy. There's a little bit of sunlight peeking on through, but a lot more cloud cover still found, especially across areas of Shreveport and Bossier here for this morning to watch out for. All right, current conditions across the Arklatex. Temperatures, nice. Upper 60s, lower 70s. Also, again, working in the sunshine. Shreveport still has a little bit of cloud cover with it. Now, that tropical icon that you see there, we'll, again, get to that in the next couple of minutes. But regardless, tropics or no tropics coming towards the Arklatex, what we do have on Friday night into Saturday throughout the day is another cold front coming on through. Now, the actual cold part of the cold front doesn't look to be as, what's the word I'm looking for, changing, looks as impactful as what the last one did. Remember, we had temperatures in the upper 80s on just 2 days ago on Monday afternoon, with highs yesterday only reaching into the lower 70s, if that. So we had like a 15-degree temperature drop between Monday and Tuesday, just 2 days ago to yesterday. The cold front between Friday and Saturday is looking to be upper 70s to like mid-70s. So nothing too wild on the temperature changing front. But what we are looking at still regardless is widespread and scattered rain showers. What I will say about this real quick before we get into the timing of this is the severe weather impact of this. You know, we dealt with first alert weather days over the past 2 days. There doesn't look to be anything too severe with this system moving on forward, besides just heavy rainfall and the fact that it's widespread across the region. Which is good news. I don't see as much of a severe impact with this system really quite yet. I'll let you know the closer we get to this system, because obviously this is Wednesday morning, and I'm talking about a system coming in Friday night, Saturday morning. But at this time, it doesn't look as promising on the severe weather front as much as the last system that came through did. All right, so here's how things work for our future track. Our tail end of the cold front right now is hitting mainly Monroe and headed out towards Mississippi here for the day today. In fact, they're dealing with some rain issues also into Georgia, especially southern Georgia this afternoon. But the point is we're clearing out the Arklatex. Away, that cold front from yesterday completely shoes out by tomorrow. Then you see the next one quickly on the horizon, hitting most of Texas tomorrow with a good amount of rain showers scattered across especially the central part of the state there. Us here in the Arklatex, more of the local future track, especially that hints at is pretty good at better timing of short-term things happening, indicates we'll have a little more cloud cover, I think, in store here for tomorrow. And most of that's from this incoming cold front, which is going to look to hit us again Saturday morning. Look at the time, 2:30 in the morning on Saturday. We'll have widespread showers coming in. So I think the showers will arrive Friday night in for eastern Texas, late night Friday night. So if you have any Friday night plans across Shreveport, I think they'll be fine, because I think the front actually holds off until first thing Saturday morning, and then it's looking to be almost a washout most of the day. I wouldn't say most of the day on Saturday, but a quick round of rain on Saturday to watch out for, particularly in the morning hours, before we have a kind of a tail end, if you saw on that future track, kind of sticking around here for the Arklatex into your Sunday too. And then looks like we clear out on Monday. And I know you're like, well, Monday, woo, finally sunshine, but back again right when I have to go back to work. But Monday is Veterans Day, so that's actually good news for veterans out there celebrating, getting out. I know some of you guys have plans out in certain areas, certain parks, certain memorials, that kind of thing. We'll have some good weather around for that, at least on Monday. All right, highs over the next several days. So you increase up to 78 here for tomorrow, but then that tiny cold front working on through here for Saturday drops us back down to highs of the mid-70s. And overall, you look at this pretty blandly, and overall, for the next 5 days, you could pretty much just say highs are in the mid-70s, maybe upper 70s here for tomorrow, but upper 70s for the most part over the next 5 days. The point is, highs are staying below 80 degrees. So hopefully we don't have to. I think we'll deal with the 80s here, unfortunately, heading into next week. But most of our warmest weather, most of our sweating weather is pretty much done at this point, thankfully. All right. So, yeah, for the weekend, it's looking pretty rainy, especially on Saturday. So if you want to pick a better day to do outdoor weekend plans, you got any outdoor chores, that kind of thing, Sunday. Sunday is the better day to do them. / Saturday afternoon. Again, most of this rain should come on Saturday morning. All right, here's a look at your 7-day forecast now. 75 here today, 76 by Friday. Oh, I think we went over the temperatures. Mid-70s here for the next 5 days. 80, though, in time for Monday. Looks like we could have a return to the low to even mid-80s, unfortunately, heading into the first part of next work week, with dry sunshine returning back for everybody. That is after that scattered chance of rain, comes Friday night heading into Saturday morning. That's when we're looking out for our next major chance of rain. Just a 20% chance of rain over the next 3 days. Most of that's just for a stray chance of a shower in the afternoon. Yeah, for today, it's especially across portions of northwestern Louisiana. And then I will say beyond the 7-day forecast, we do have a hint at more rain coming sometime in the middle of next week with another system looking to bring more scattered rain showers back into the picture. I think you get the point. We're almost like rinsing and repeating these rounds of scattered rain into the Arklatex repeatedly. We've been on this train basically since Halloween. Yep. So it's going to continue. I will say the one good thing, I know some people are tired about the rain, especially even after the entire dry month of October, up until Halloween. I will say these consistent rounds of rain are at least helping to sustain us with some cooler temperatures. The mornings haven't been too cool, to be fair. We did have some lows down into the 40s in the middle of October, but so far that has yet to be seen with some of the morning temperatures so far in the month of November. It's mainly been 60s, pretty mild. I will say with the exception of Idabel and Mount Pleasant, those areas did get down in the mid-40s here this morning. But for the most part, yeah, we've been keeping some mild mornings heading into November. And my point is the afternoon temperatures, we've kept those down a good bit. And hopefully the rounds of rain will continue to keep the hottest heat down overall. I'm hoping we don't see any upper 80s, lower 90s anymore. Please no. I mean, to be fair, we broke a record high on Monday with a high of 89 degrees. That broke the record high for all of November. For all of time. Not just single day record, all of November record. Quite impressive. All right. We're getting to the first alert tropics. Coming up after this, Hurricane Rafael, again, is hitting Cuba today as a Category 2 hurricane and is moving into the Gulf of Mexico, which is always bad news. And we always want to stay first alert about anything that heads into the Gulf of Mexico. If you have any questions, let me know. Always comment, again, in YouTube on KSLA News 12. Otherwise, just sit and listen. Sit back, relax. I think you'll actually appreciate the forecast we actually have coming for Rafael, even though it is heading into the Gulf of Mexico. I'll explain why and give you all the nitty-gritty tropical details, even though it's November. All that and more on the tropics coming up after a 2-minute break. I'll see you after this. All right, welcome back. KSLA News 12. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomason. Welcome, you're watching First Alert Weather Breakdown. It's our weather podcast here. That basically just entails, for those of you, again, just joining kind of for the first time, just entails that we're ranting on about weather. This goes beyond just the typical shows. It's a platform in which I just get I wouldn't say an entire 30 minutes to myself. There are commercial breaks, but it just gives us more time to, first of all, relax with our words a little bit. Nothing's rushed. I don't have to get anything done in time before a commercial break or before the rest of the show, so to speak. I just get to easily talk to you a little more, I guess, at my pace of talking to people instead of very quickly with very quick words. It's raining today. It's talk. You get the point. It's a little more relaxed. We get to go over a lot more details that I usually don't even have time to get into in the shows. So if you want to know about the nitty-gritty and all the details you need to know about Arklatex weather, you can find it here. Right here. All right. Anyways, let's get into the exclusive content here for today, which is always in the second block, or second segment of First Alert Weather Breakdown, which is the tropics. I thought we were done 2 weeks ago. It turns out we aren't, even for November standards, just so you know. Keep in mind, this... there is a chance, by the way, at Rafael becoming a Cat 3 storm. We'll get to that in just a little bit as well. But just a little fact to kind of introduce this, us turning to Hurricane Rafael. If Rafael did become a major hurricane, it will only be the 12th major hurricane on record in the month of November. 12th in the history of the Atlantic Cold Tropics, which goes all the way back, just so you know, that database goes all the way back to 1865. Goes way back than probably any of you thought it went back. But yes, it has an extensive history that lasts over 150 years, and there's only been 11 major hurricanes in the month of November. So, pretty strange territory that we're in here. But regardless, it's happened. So, we keep ourselves first alert on the tropics, especially since this is targeting the Gulf of Mexico. All right, so let's get into the details. All right, first of all, let's see where we are on the date. Again, why is it so unusual? I'm actually going to get myself out of the graphic here because I realize my face is in the way of this one. So today, again, tropical season ends at the end of November for a reason. It includes the month of November, I should say, for a reason, because it's the very tail end of the season. You can maybe see one storm form, maybe two, rare. But they're usually never major hurricanes. All those major hurricanes, again, usually happen during the month of either August, late August, September, or October. It's pretty much just exclusively been those months because the waters have been too cold. But the fact of the matter is, we'll get to temperatures in just a little bit. But yeah, the Caribbean waters have been ridiculously hot still. Now, obviously, that's way down south past, obviously, Florida and most of the Caribbean islands, closer to, obviously, South America, which borders it. That's why it's been able to keep itself very, very warm. There's a look at Hurricane Rafael. That island there on that picture is Cuba. So it's literally hitting Cuba pretty much as we speak, but it's going to make landfall onto this island sometime probably this afternoon. So for now, I mean, it's got an impressive signature to it. Again, that is a hurricane, not just a tropical storm at all. That is a hurricane. The Yucatan Peninsula is off to the left. If you can see above satellite, the word satellite, that is Florida, by the way. Speaking of Florida, they actually have some issues with this storm, even though it's headed into the Gulf of Mexico. So we'll talk about that right now. We're going to kind of take the future track in baby steps. So right now, it's a Category 2 hurricane. It's got winds at 110 miles per hour. That makes it a Cat 2. It is, I believe, 10 miles an hour shy of being a Cat 3. So it just needs a little more oomph to it to be that major hurricane, so to speak. This is moving up north and west. Now, the worry for Florida, for any of you, first of all, watching for Florida or have any family in Florida, there is a tornado risk, actually, with some of these outer bands hitting the Florida Keys. If you notice kind of the outer bands on this future track as it moves northwest, the outer bands are likely still hitting, or I should say going to run into Key West, any of those Florida Key areas. I think the Outer Banks as well, those very tiny Outer Bank, or those light rain Outer Banks, I should say, are more going to target towards probably Fort Myers, Miami, but that's the most they'll get. Key West has a legitimate chance of picking up some heavy rain and some tornado threat with this system. Again, it's likely to become a Cat 3 now as it moves past Cuba here. By tonight, it might be a Cat 3 as soon as the next update, honestly. And keep on, I'm sorry, it only needs 5 miles an hour. That's my bad, to become a major hurricane. This will continue to move north and west, maintaining at least a strong hurricane. It maintains a Cat 2 all the way into Thursday. And you see this starts to take a westward trend, basically due west through the Gulf of Mexico. Enters the Gulf of Mexico pretty much first thing tomorrow morning. And then as it continues to move through, if you'll notice the trend, we get into Friday night. It's now positioned itself right below New Orleans. It's starting to weaken. It's starting to weaken a good bit. And the forecast cone is very uncertain. We'll get to that uncertainty in just a little bit. But look at how much it's weakening. By Monday morning, 40 miles an hour only. It's expected to be a weak tropical storm. There's a whole lot of questions on where it's going basically beyond basically Friday night. There's a whole bunch of questions of where it's going. What we do know is it's expected to significantly weaken. Weak tropical storm. For once, the Gulf of Mexico, which I give the nickname of Gulf of Mexico, usually the hot tub of Mexico during tropical season, is no longer the hot tub of Mexico. So we're going to look into some of the other things affecting that system and why it's weakening. Number one is the temperatures. I mean, when we were looking at this during the peak of tropical season, most of these temperatures were in the mid-80s. Some of them were as hot as the upper 80s, which is ridiculously hot. This is cool for the Gulf of Mexico. Upper 70s and lower 80s. And we're talking like 81 for the thick of the Gulf of Mexico, which, as you see that tropical stat above, you usually need like 82 degrees or higher, warm, fueling waters in the Gulf of Mexico to help sustain those tropical systems. That is not going to happen this time. Not going to happen this time. Not only that, if it goes northward, you remember all those, obviously, we've talked about in the local Arclotex forecast. Since we have all these cold fronts continuing to push through the region, that's a huge force. That's a huge force since we have all these cold fronts rolling through the Arclotex. That's a huge, monumental force in the atmosphere to bring us much cooler weather and to bring us those rain showers. Hurricanes hate dealing with other systems, especially when they're a little weaker, and it doesn't help them out at all. Hurricane needs a calm atmosphere around itself so it can be able to move to its own accord. It doesn't want somebody else telling it what to do, how to slow down at all. That's what wind shear does. That's what cold fronts do. So if it goes north, it should weaken a great bit. In fact, it might even weaken to the fact that it might not even make any landfall whatsoever. That's kind of a crazy thing to think about in the big scheme of things. So here are the spaghetti models. I know we saw the cone, but notice how some of the spaghetti models beyond Saturday have this system going towards Mexico, which if it went towards Mexico, I heard it actually maintains its hurricane status most likely. There's more favorable conditions and a more favorable atmosphere towards Mexico to be able to maybe make a Mexican landfall heading into November. But if it does turn north, which a few of those spaghetti models try to do, it's not going to look very pretty. It's not going to be a pretty looking storm, so to speak, and it'll be weaker, much weaker, which is great news for us here in the Arclotex. One last thing I want to mention before we wrap up this segment. I don't see any comments on YouTube about this. One last thing to mention. We do have an area of interest that is separate from Hurricane Rafael that has a 30% chance of forming over the next 7 days. I just thought I'd throw that in still here last minute because that could run behind Rafael. And if it does, this might be an issue for Florida. It's still tropical season again until the end of November. All right, that's your first alert tropical segment. Hope you learned something new about that. Hope I was able to put your mind a little more at ease, even though I know Hurricane Rafael has kind of fallen under the radar with news due to, obviously, all the election stuff, all of our first alert weather day coverage over the past 2 days. But yeah, it is a hurricane going into the Gulf of Mexico, but thankfully it is expected to weaken significantly. All right. Coming up, we'll wrap up this episode. We'll look forward to tomorrow's episode as well. I'll give a hint as to what is going on there. You stick around. You can look forward to a preview of tomorrow's episode. Coming on up after another 2-minute break. I'll see you after this. All right, welcome back to a First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Just recapping this episode a little bit again. Tropics looking a little weird. Obviously, with Hurricane Rafael, I wish the best for those in Cuba, which will still be facing a significant impact today with that Category 2 storm. Again, for those of you that have friends or are in Key West or anywhere on the southern tip of Florida, might want to let them know they got some rain coming their way. And again, there is a tiny tornado threat actually on the Keys, which is very weird to say. Key West, Marathon, any of those towns that are kind of the Keys, just barely off the coast of Florida. Just keeping first alert about the storms down there. Very weird time for November, but that's why we include November in the tropical season. Thankfully, no impacts to Arklatex expected. We'll keep you first alert still regardless, as trust me. Anytime anything's in the Gulf of Mexico, we'll keep you updated. We will keep you updated. All right. So another good thing, again, our previous cold front went through, obviously Monday into Tuesday morning for Election Day morning, but thankfully most of it was done by midday. So thankfully we got to get all of our stuff done by Election Day coverage, which is not just last night, but I'd probably say definitely this morning. Stephen Maxwell, good buddy of mine, obviously, morning anchor on the morning show, KSLA News 12. Live streaming all morning long, talking to several people about the election, and you could tell he was enthusiastic about it, just like I'm enthusiastic, and always get myself hyped up for severe weather. So I'm glad our paths weren't able to cross is the point. We weren't able to have severe weather and election recap at the same exact time. Glad, because last week it almost looked like it was going to, but thankfully our weather came before the election. Exactly. All right, so that's our episode here for today. If you want to send us a topic, you can send it to us, weatherbreakdown@ksla.com. We can talk about more than just tropics. That's probably just on everybody's mind. Maybe not on everybody's mind, but Evan, a big election just happened here, buddy. Anyways, yeah, so if you want to send us a topic, if you have any questions about how weather works, you want us to talk about a system happening, it doesn't even have to be happening around the Arklatex We can talk about any national weather news as well. I haven't even done one of those in a while, actually. I just remember when we recapped a tropical system that was basically went on a full circle with its track around the island of Taiwan. Well, this happened months ago in the early part of the tropical season, but that was still interesting to talk about. I'll have to bring up maybe some national weather things happening here and heading into next week, especially since we have more potent storms coming through. I think that would be cool to bring up. Anyways, yes, if you want to send us a topic, anything you want us to talk about, explain any weather happenings, talk about national weather things going on, things to bring up in our meteorology chats to the rest of the guys. Just so you know, that's happening tomorrow. A Met chat. I'll get to that in just a second. But if you want to send us a topic, a weather topic to talk about here on First Alert Weather Breakdown, you send it to us, weatherbreakdown@ksla.com, or you can message any of us on Facebook, but you can message me, Meteorologist Evan Thompson. That's my Facebook. My direct messages are open. And keep in mind, you can watch us any single weekday if you just want to chill and watch. We're on every single weekday morning at 10:30. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. We have another episode coming tomorrow at 10:30. I look forward to joining you guys then. Thank you very much for watching. For tomorrow's episode, you can enjoy a meteorology chat, which means CJ, Austin, and Matt will be on, including myself as well. We'll have our usual trivia question every single week, but the exclusive content we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about why November seems to be the month with severe weather. Matt brought that up when I first got the job here. He was like, yeah, we have severe weather happening in the spring, and then for some reason, severe weather seems to just ramp up in the month of November. This kind of continues on our severe weather coverage from last week when we talked about how to keep safe during a tornado if you're outside of the house. You can watch that episode on KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Breakdown. On our app, we have a little tab. You click on the tab, and then you scroll down, and you can watch any episode, any previous episode that we've ever aired. Pretty cool. But anyways, the bet chat for tomorrow, we're talking about why November just seems to be a month of severe weather. Why November? Why not October, December, any month around it? Why is it in particular November that we somehow seem to run into these severe weather instances coming into late portion of fall, heading into winter? So, yeah, it'll be an interesting discussion to have. We'll have that discussion live pretty much right after this, but off camera, and you'll see the recorded version of it on tomorrow's episode right here at KSLA News 12 First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, it all starts at 10:30. All right, that's it for today. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thompson. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you like the new setup. I certainly do. It's day 8 in the new setup. I'm nice, feel at home. I'm sitting in a chair. It's better than standing up. I could mention so many pros about it, but anyways, thank you very much for watching. Excuse me. Hope you enjoy the sunshine, especially out in southwestern Arkansas and eastern Texas. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, 10:30, Thursday. Be there, be square, stay weather aware. I'll see you later.